Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is grab a ruler, some poster board, and a pencil. And what we're going to do first, this is the first step to any prop making, is to make a template before you attack the real stuff. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to trace out the shape of my shield on a piece of paper folded in half so that it comes out symmetrical. So just take your reference pictures that you have collected and look at the shape of your prop or shield and start drawing. I'm using my ruler to line up with my surface underneath the rulers on it to get the shape I want. Depending on the situation, this can be a very tedious and frustrating process, but it's very important that you make a template before you start cutting away at your foam. So just go ahead and trace your shape, and once you're happy with it, we're going to start cutting. Once you're finished tracing your design, all you have to do is cut it out with a box cutter or X-Acto knife. I got to this point and I realized I was not sure how long I wanted my shield to be, so I'm just going to cut that whole line and then I'll figure out how long I want it to be after. So now that I got a nice symmetrical shape, I decided that I was going to cut off the top a little bit so it's not too long. Alright, our shape is cut. Look at that. Beautiful. Nice job. Okay, now we're going to move on to the foam. Okay, now it's time for step 2. Grab your EVA foam sheet and put your template on top of it. Just like that. Make sure it's nice and flat. Oh, but wait, what's this? Oh, we have a visitor. Oh, great. Hi, Leo. You're here to mess things up. Remember, guys, cosplay rule number 1 is to always have a cat to sit on your stuff and to claw you when you're trying to work. So, push that thing away and we can get to tracing. So, using a Sharpie or any type of writing utensil that will show up on your foam, preferably a darker color so you can see what you're doing, you're going to trace out your shape onto your foam. I started by marking the corners first so I know where my shield is going, and if it happens to move, I can put it back where it belongs. Now that it's in position, I'm going to trace the sides. Voila! It is traced. Now it's time to cut it. So now, grab your box cutter, and you can start cutting your foam. Make sure you use a ruler for this step because you want some nice, clean, straight edges. Alright, our foam piece is cut. Good job. That's a nice looking shield, but it looks a little straight. So I'm going to use a heat gun in order to shape it. See how this looks really flat? I'm going to give it a bit of a curve using a heat gun. You can get one of those at Lowe's, Walmart, any hardware store really. So just go ahead and heat it up slowly on a low setting. You can heat up both sides pretty easily. And you'll know it's working because you'll see the foam change colors. Like that, see right there. So just heat it up for a couple seconds. You don't need to heat it up a lot. Turn off your heat gun. Make sure you turn it off. Flip it over and bend it into the shape you want. Bend it into submission. Just like that. Hold it for a few seconds so it retains its shape. You can use different techniques to shape the foam. I'm just using my hands to get a shape. Look at that. Isn't that cool? It's got a nice little curve to it. Great. It's prime time. I primed my surface with some Plasti Dip. Next, I gave it a coat of red spray paint. Now I'm going to let this dry and I'm going to get started on the frame of the shield. For the frame of the shield, I'm just going to take my template and cut into it. For the frame of the shield, I'm going to use some thicker craft foam that I got from Hobby Lobby. And I'm going to use the shape of my shield to make a template for the frame. So first off, I'm going to trace the general shape of the shield on my foam. Now grab your shield and make sure it fits right on top of there, that you got the right shape. Now we got to figure out the thickness of the frame. So I'm going to figure about 2 inches for mine, since it's just about the right proportions for the shield. Now you want to take those measurements and put them on your template. So grab your ruler and measure your thickness from the edge of the shield to the inside. And repeat all around. Oh, hi Leo. Leo's back. Say hi everyone. Leo's here to mess things up again. Yep. Hi Leo. Bye Leo. Goodbye Leo. Once you get your shape right, you can go ahead and cut it out using your X-Acto knife or a box cutter. Either one is fine, depending on the thickness of your foam. Once your shape is cut out, you can take your shield, put it on top, and make sure it fits. Make sure it matches to the edges, and if it doesn't look right, you can just cut it again. Not a big deal. I'm just making sure it works on both sides. I'm going to need 2 pieces of foam for this because mine is not long enough. Once I was happy with my template, I grabbed some thicker foam. You can see the difference here. It's way thicker, and it'll look better because it'll stand out more on the shield. So I'm going to use that to make the frame. So now I'm using a highlighter to trace my template on top of my black foam. You can use any color you want here because we're going to cover it in Plasti Dip anyway. So it can be yellow, red, blue, it does not matter. Actually, you'll see in the next frame that both my frames are not the same color because I didn't have another black piece of foam. Yep, see? Didn't have any more black, so I had to use a brown one. It's okay though. Just trace your template on top of the other piece of foam and cut it out. Now if the pieces are cut out, you can lay them on top of your shield and make sure everything fits. You can do some trimming at this point if you're over like 2 millimeters. You can cut it a little bit and get it to fit. Alright, so same process here, priming. So spray it with Plasti Dip and let it dry. Then you can spray it with some metallic spray paint. Now that my base is done, I'm going to add a little more acrylic metallic paint to my base. So I'm just going to spread that on there. It's going to take a few coats to get it the right color, so just be patient and keep adding paint and let it dry, and adding paint and let it dry. Alright, so next up I'm going to paint the Triforce pieces with some golden yellow mixed with, I think it was classic gold acrylics. So I'm just going to spread my paint, mix it up, mix it up real good, and I'm going to paint my Triforce triangles that I pre-primed with Plasti Dip as always. And this is going to take a few coats to get it to be the right color, same thing. So just paint those and let them dry. I decided to go the whole way with this shield, and I'm going to do the back, the wooden part. So I'm going to take some brown foam and cut out inside the frame to get the shape right. Alright, so now we're doing some weathering work. What I'm doing here is I'm taking some of my paints that I'm using for my basic color, and I'm adding some black, a little bit of black, not too much, to give it like a worn, rusty look. So here, let me zoom in a little bit. So I'm going to show you. So what you do is you go to your palette and grab some black. And I like to do is just like spread it around and get as little paint as I can on my brush. And then you go to your area and let's see, where can we add some, this corner for example. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to dab it on there. Just a little bit. Just like that. See, it's subtle, but it looks cool, I think. What you can do, you can also take your finger and just like lightly just blend it in. And there you go. So you just do that for your whole thing, basically. Using black paint, mixing it in a little bit with your base paint to blend it in so it doesn't look too... So here I'm doing the same thing. Oops, sorry. I'm doing the same thing with the red here. Using different brushes. I use the sponge brush. I like to call it the sponge brush. Just like regular brushes and just kind of just playing around with it basically. When I go into this, I don't really have a plan. I just kind of do whatever. But that's the most fun part of it though. So you just kind of like play around and you blend things in, and then if you mess up, well, that's fine. You just cover it up again with more paint. It's not a big deal. So there you have it. It looks awesome, doesn't it? Yep. So what I have to do now is cut out that white figure. So if you look at the Four Swords shield, right here, if you look at the Four Swords shield, there's a white winged figure on there. So that's what's coming up next tomorrow. But yeah, I'm tired. I cut my finger earlier when I was cutting things, so I'm gonna stop for tonight. And there you have it. The front is done. This piece here, let me put it down over here so you can see. Okay. This piece right here is cut out craft foam, the thinner kind. I didn't want it to stand out too much from the rest of the shield. Painted with some white. I added a little bit of silver paint in the white, and then did some weathering on it with the black brush, or black paint, like I showed you earlier. There's cat hair here. Thank you, Leo. There's the back. The back is done. Let's see. These two pieces are just the same craft foam painted silver. And for the handle, it's the same foam I used for the shield. So this stuff, right? But I took two pieces and glued them together because otherwise it would not be sturdy enough. So there you go. And then I glued that with my favorite Gorilla Glue, which I'm running out of, and I got a lot on my fingers, which is not good, but oh well. That's the cost of cosplay. So there you go. The shield is done, finally. So now we have to work on the sword sheath. So that's what's next. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped you out at least a little bit. If you have any questions, you can post them in the comments below, and I'll make sure to answer them as best as I can. If you want to see more videos like this one, you can hit that subscribe button. I'll be uploading some new content pretty soon. Toodles!